aspects of the War on Terror that we've been talking about all day, there's one that stands out for me. After 11 years, Guantanamo Bay prison is still open. On his first day in office, President Obama promised to close it. When he took his Nobel Peace Prize, he promised it again. But today, after 11 years, there are 166 Muslim men in Guantanamo Bay. 157 of those have no charges against them. 86 of them were cleared by the highest-ranking group of former intelligence officers and military officers of the United States 5 years ago. Some of them were cleared previously, even before that. The United States is spending $400,000 a day imprisoning these men, the vast majority of whom they know are innocent. It's their fate to be held indefinitely and without charge, in complete defiance of international law. The United States Court of Appeal calls this legal. The United States Supreme Court has refused to review this judgment. The Guantanamo story illustrates the blatant illegality, racism, and Islamophobia which have become the new norms in the United States, and to some extent in the junior partner that we know so well, complicit in all of this. It's also done another thing. It's legitimized torture, the acceptance of torture, across the world and even in Western culture where films can go for Oscars. I'm talking about Zero Dark 30. Now, every detail of this whole story is outrageous. But what is most horrifying about it is the lack of outrage. The war on terror has made us all numb. In Guantanamo, men have been held in solitary for years, force-fed during long hunger strikes protesting their treatment. Access to their lawyers has been systematically impeded. They've been interrogated hundreds, if not thousands of times. They've been interrogated by intelligence officers from other countries. Psychiatrists have been part of this process. Drugs have been forcibly administered by doctors. Family mail heavily redacted and often delayed for months and in many cases for years. Now, secret black sites across the world were used for the worst systematic torture before some of these men reached Guantanamo. But torture is the only word for 11 years in Guantanamo Bay. Now, 2/3 of these men come from Yemen, where the US works closely with the Yemeni government, assassinating people with drones and airstrikes. President Obama issued a moratorium on any repatriation of any Yemeni in early 2010 after the Christmas underpants bombing attempt. There's no way, there's no path for those men to appeal this racist profiling. One of those Yemenis was Guantanamo's latest death, a name to remember, Adnan Latif, who had been cleared years before his death. He was a sick man, and he suffered severe emotional distress and had attempted suicide several times before he died. His poignant writing should be read by all of you. It illustrates this suffering and the unbearable nature of what goes on in Guantanamo Bay in its solitary confinement, and the indefiniteness of it. Now, one of the 166 is a name well known to many people in this hall, and it should be even better known. Shaka Amar is a Saudi who lived in Britain before he went to Afghanistan to do charity work. He has a British family here. He's been in Guantanamo for 11 years and was long ago cleared for release. He is still very strong. He is an encouragement and a support to the weaker people in Guantanamo, the men who've been broken. But he's nowhere near being allowed home. The Foreign Office tell us they're doing everything they can. These are weasel words which we do not believe. They lack the political will, and it's up to us to get them to find that political will. Now, Congress has moved, and Obama has twice signed the NDAA, which puts all kinds of prohibitions on spending money to repatriate anybody from Guantanamo and transferring anybody without a certification. That certification, in the case of Britain, means signing by our government that no former prisoner has committed any crime since they were released. None have. What we are faced with in the case of Shaka is a collective failure by all of us. I know there are people in this room who tirelessly walk around in orange suits and in handcuffs and do things for Shaka. None of it is enough. I salute them for it, but the rest of us have got to find new ways to do something about this particular bit of Guantanamo. If we can get Shaka returned, it's a small opening for the rest of the 166 who should never be there. Thank you very much.